Turkey is an eclectic mix of the East and West that you won't find anywhere else. It is the only country in the world that straddles two major continents, Europe and Asia. This means that the country is a true melting pot of cultures that really stands out. We're going to list out the most incredible places to visit in Turkey. These places are famed for their sights, sounds, and amazing experiences they can offer you. They showcase the length and breadth of Turkey, offering attractions like historical sites, amazing food, natural attractions, and so much more. Stay with us till the end to find out more about these incredible places that you should visit in Turkey. Topkapi Palace. Topkapi Palace was home to the longest reigning dynasty in Turkey, the Ottoman Empire. It was built in 1459 and is a large and sprawling museum, complete with gardens, courtyards, and various palace buildings all within the same compound. Topkapi covers an area of about 70 hectares, and that's about a size of 175 football fields. So make sure you wear some comfy shoes when visiting this museum in the heart of Istanbul. Among the areas you can't miss when you're here is the Women's Harem, a Chinese porcelain collection, and the outer imperial treasury that houses ancient armor. The Hagia Sophia. Currently, the Hagia Sophia functions as a mosque. However, it was first built as a church in 537 AD. Over the years, it has undergone many upgrades and changes, but the original structure is more than 1,500 years old. You'll be able to see many types of architecture showcased here, including classical Greek, Roman, Byzantine, and Islamic features. Walking around will give you a sense of the grandeur of this antique place of worship and how much skill and effort has gone into building, decorating, and maintaining it. One feature of the Hagia Sophia you cannot miss are the mosaics here, including those made from gold, silver, glass, terracotta, and colored stone. The city of Ephesus. One of the best places to be if you're a fan of history is Ephesus. Ephesus is located on the western end of Turkey and was one of the great cities during the era of the Roman Empire and dates back to the 10th century AD. This can be seen by the many archaeological sites left over from that time period. Some of these sites include the Great Theater, the Library of Seleucus, the Temple of Hadrian, and many more. Do spend at least 1 to 2 days at Ephesus so that you can cover all the key historical attractions here and really immerse yourself in the city's rich history. Mount Nemrut. Mount Nemrut is the highest mountain of the southeastern side of Turkey, and it offers some of the most spectacular views for visitors, especially at sunset and sunrise. However, it isn't the views that attract people here. At the peak of Mount Nemrut is a mysterious ruin, which is actually the funeral mound of King Antiochus I, ruler of a kingdom called Commagene. He ruled somewhere between 70 BC to 31 BC and built this temple tomb for himself. Now the temple lies in ruins and visitors will be able to see the eerie remains of large heads from giant statues that previously lined this magnificent structure. Pamukkale. The site of Pamukkale, which means cotton castles in Turkish, can really be something you won't forget for the rest of your life. They're actually calcite travertines formed by calcium-rich water emerging from the underground and forming terrace-like structures on the hilly area here. Pamukkale's snow-white terraces form a stark contrast to the surrounding brown and green countryside, which gives one a very surreal experience. Some of the travertines are also filled with water, and you'll be able to wade in these pools or swim in them as you please. Otherwise, do feel free to walk around and experience this outstanding natural attraction at its best. Antalya. The coastal town of Antalya offers stunning vistas of the Mediterranean, complete with crystal blue water and clear skies. You'll be able to enjoy its wonderful beaches, especially in the summer months. Antalya is a vibrant and lively city where you'll find bars, restaurants, and shops with local products to fill any of your needs. Nightlife is abundant here too, however, if that is not your thing, you can also enjoy the old quarter of town, complete with Ottoman-style mansions and cobblestone alleyways. You can also travel a short way out of the town and see the Greco-Roman ruins at Espandons, Perge, and Side. The Roma Theater at Espandons. We mentioned previously that you can travel to Espandons from the seaside town of Antalya. However, setting aside one entire day for your trip to Espandons would be a good idea because there are several historical sites to see here. The main one which you cannot miss is the theater. Built in the classical half-moon style of ancient Roman architecture, this one at Esmondons is particularly well preserved. It was built in the 2nd century CE by an architect called Zenon. Back then, it could fit anywhere from 15,000 to 20,000 people. In fact, it has been somewhat restored and used today to put on modern performances like the annual Esmondons Opera Festival. Pergamum in Bergama. Turkey has a ton of ancient archaeological sites, but very few of them have a high concentration of various historical attractions like Pergamum in the modern-day district of Bergama. In its heyday, Pergamum was a progressive city. It had its own library and medical school run by one of the fathers of modern medicine, Galen. Today you can see what's left of this great city as there are more than 30 sites to visit in Pergamum. All of them are within walking distance to one another, including the Temple of Asclepius, Temple of Athena, Gymnasium, Bath, and more. The Blue Mosque. The Blue Mosque in Istanbul is also known as the Sultan Ahmed Mosque and is one of the most famous Ottoman-era mosques to be built. Erected in the 1600s, the Blue Mosque attracts thousands of visitors due to its hand-painted blue tiles, which can be found covering its interior walls. The mosque is brightly lit up during the day by natural light coming in from its 5 spacious domes and 8 secondary domes. The mosaic details of each dome in the Blue Mosque are especially exquisite and not to be missed. Another feature here is the grand chandeliers which light up the mosque at night, as well as more than 200 stained glass windows. The Grand Bazaar. Istanbul has many covered markets for visitors to discover, but the largest one is the Grand Bazaar. It has more than 64 streets and 4,000 shops that you can explore. Setting aside one whole day just to walk at the Grand Bazaar will leave you thoroughly fulfilled. The shops are divided into areas selling one type of product. This means you'll be able to see areas selling secondhand books, spices, metalworks, jewelry, clothing, glassware, tea, local fruits, dried produce, and much more. Haggling is a skill that will come in handy at the Grand Bazaar, so keep it handy. Göbekli Tepe. Göbekli Tepe is a Neolithic archaeological site that is of particular interest due to several factors. The site really shocked historians as it was thought that in the Neolithic era, humans just didn't build monuments of this size. The monuments at Göbekli Tepe actually predate the Stonehenge by 6,000 years and are thought to have been a temple or celestial observation site. The most significant structure here would be the main excavation site, where there's a pit with large T-shaped structures jutting out, surrounded by a circular arrangement of standing stones and a pillar. The site is thought to have been built around 10,000 BC, when humans were still thought to be nomadic hunter-gatherers. The scale of this building therefore has broken this stereotype completely. The Dolmabahce Palace. If you thought to yourself, not another palace, you've been missing out on a lot, as Dolmabahce Palace is one of the most beautiful examples of Baroque, Rococo, and Neoclassical styles. Previously, the sultans of the Ottoman Empire lived in Topkapi Palace, but by 1840s, the medieval style of Topkapi didn't really suit the idea of grandeur the sultan craved, especially after seeing the other grand palaces that were found in other parts of Europe. Thus, Dolmabahce was constructed on the banks of Bosphorus. You will be amazed by grand staircases, gilded walls, crystal chandeliers, and ornately carved pillars that remind us one of the best palaces in France. We'll wrap up our list of Turkey's best places to visit by saying there are so many more attractions than these in Turkey. In fact, the country is something for everybody, and the best way for you to savor your experiences here is to take your time.